Hi everyone, Chris here, and I've looked at a few gaming mobile phones in the channel, but this one takes the cake. This has to be the best so far out of all the gaming phones that I have looked at. It's the ASUS Republic of Gamers phone number 2. So this has now the new updated Snapdragon 855 Plus, which is now the fastest Android chip you can get, slightly tweaked clocks, and the performance, you do notice a little bit. It's not a huge increase at all. After all, it's named just the Plus. This isn't the Snapdragon 865. It comes paired with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of very fast UFS 3 storage in this model here. Now the screen, it's a large screen. It's got a super brightness of almost 1000 lux. It's the brightest panel in a mobile phone that I have reviewed in the channel. It also supports 120 Hz and 240 Hz is the touch digitizer rate that is running at. So touch response is absolutely phenomenal with this screen. Very good screen. It also supports HDR10. We've got dual loudspeakers front facing on this. It's a big phone. It's a heavy phone, as you see, but it also has a very large battery in here as well. 6000 milliamp hours to help support that double refresh rate, because the most phones out there are all 60 Hz. There's a few 90 Hz gaming phones, Razer's gaming phone, and then this one too as well.
Inside the box, you'll find a plastic clear cover case. I don't particularly like it. It's not super high quality, but again, better than nothing, and it's included, so you got it from day one of using the phone. So we've got an 18-watt charge in here, so it's 9 volts, 2 amps. It does apparently support Qualcomm's Quick Charge 4, but I don't have one of those here to test that. So charging time of this is going to be just over 2 hours, which isn't too bad considering this is a very large battery that's within it. It's 6000 milliamp hours, and you do get a Type-C cable as well and SIM tray tool. Now, there is no denying that the phone is a gamer phone with this look. So we've got the Republic of Gamers logo on the back. It is actually backlit. There's some little lights in there. You can see, hopefully, that it's changing color, but it's not particularly bright. But when I turn off the lights, you can clearly see it now. It's only working when you're in the gaming performance mode. Now, when you look at the cameras on the rear, we just have 2 because a lot of the flagships now, especially in 2019, they're all coming with 4 cameras or 3 cameras here. So we have a 48 megapixel Sony IMX 586, that's our main camera, and then a 13 megapixel ultra wide, dual tone LED flash, and there will be samples from this camera and video samples later on in this review. Now, what looks like a little vent here on the side, I don't believe is. It's really more for aesthetics. There's no fan within this, but there are some accessories you can get. An add-on little fan clip thing that clips onto the bottom where the ports are and will help keep the phone a little bit cooler. Now, the phone does take dual nano SIMs, but there's no micro SD card support, and there is no rubber gasket around the SIM tray slot here as well to help keep out dust or accidental splashes. So there's no IP rating with this as well. Now, the star of the show here is the 120 Hz screen. This is an AMOLED panel. It's 6.59 inches with a resolution of 2340 by 1080. It supports HDR10 and it has almost 1000 lux. It is a super bright AMOLED panel, so you can make it out in direct sunlight without any issues. Now, the side bezels aren't too bad. The top and bottom ones, yes, are big, but we've got a status LED within the top bezel, the sensors there, front-facing 24 megapixel camera, and 2 front-facing, very loud stereo speakers. The bottom does incorporate a fingerprint reader, which I find works well. The phone also supports face unlocking, so you simply tap the power button, look at it, and it unlocks. It is quite quick, and I find it faster than the optical in-screen fingerprint reader. Along the bottom, we've got 2 antenna lines. You can just see them. So this is a metal frame. The build and finish is very good of this phone. Type-C port, 3.5mm headphone jack, and 2 microphones. Then along the top of the phone, you can see another 2 antenna lines and a microphone. Now, depending on the way you're looking at it, this is the left side of the phone or the bottom if it's in the dock. So we've got a docking port right here. Now, out of the box, it has a rubber gasket that's in there to protect it from filling up full of dust. And it's very hard to get out as well. And then on the right, which could also be seen as the top of the mobile phone here, we've got the power button, volume button. I like the fact that they moved them down. This is a large phone, but they moved them right down, so it's quite easy to access both of these. And no, they don't rattle around. And you can just see there the touch triggers as well we have. So 4 touch triggers, one on the left, one on the right that you can configure, for example, in PUBG, one to be the scope, the other to fire. So the phone is a very heavy 233 grams. It's also 9.7 millimeters thick. So it's a large phone, and it might not be for everyone due to the size. And here it is for comparison up against my Samsung S10 Plus and Huawei P30 Pro. As you can see, it towers above them. It's about an extra almost centimeter taller. So now to move on to the ROM, its performance, and a few of my typical benchmarks and tests that I like to run. So I have it on the default theme here, which is pretty ugly to me, okay? But there is an option when you first get it and boot it up that you can actually set a different theme, and more of a default Android 9 theme, you could say, with the icon pack there. So we've got a bit of bloatware that is pre-installed, but more on that later on. You've got an apps drawer, as you can see, and the performance now, I'm running the 120 Hz, is just so quick. This is absolutely blazing fast. In full screen gesture mode, the fastest phone that I have used without a doubt. And also multitasking, Task Manager is a little bit aggressive here, just like a lot of other phones now. There's the move for better, improved battery life, so they're very heavy on just closing things down in the background. And I noticed with games especially. So even Chrome, if Chrome was open for about 5 minutes, it would reload the page. It's really that bad. So very aggressive there. So look at the smooth scrolling on this. Now, I need to be shooting in 120 frames per second. I'm shooting in 30 4K at the moment, just to show you just how amazingly smooth this is. Is it then going to be a deal breaker for me when I go back to phones with 60 Hz? For me on phones personally, it's not, but you do notice it, especially in the beginning, and there's an adjustment period there, but yeah, it's really good. Let's load up a page here and see how quick that is. Very quick to load in, and yes, just so quick here. So the ROM is the fastest I have used. So I'll just load up gallery, and we'll take a look first here at our storage. So you've got 109 gigabytes free on first use. And this is the options you get with the display. So by default, it's on 60 Hz, and that's to save on battery, because when you double the refresh rate, and especially with such a bright screen as this one, you can just burn through the battery. And I mean like losing 20% an hour, depending on what you're doing. That's full-time use, but more on that later on. So system navigation, I'm in full screen gestures. As mentioned, I'm not seeing any stutters or lag, which is really good. And you can just run the normal menu keys if you like. So for the display, we've got options here that you can tweak the color temperature. This is with their Splendid app. You see this on a lot of ASUS laptops and tablets and things as well. So it is up to date, but it's only running Android security patch level of July, which is not good. And here we got all the default apps that you get on first boot here, apart from GSAM battery monitor. I installed that myself. So there's a lot of bloatware. It's one of the cons here. Instagram, Facebook, and even pre-installed Asphalt 9. If you wanted to play that game, it might not be a problem. But for me, I think they've crammed a little bit too much on here. Google Pay is there. Yes, it does work. It does have NFC. And we've got camera API 2 support full. So not level 3, which would be the best. But I do believe out of the box, we should be able to get working versions of Google Camera here if you wanted to improve quality. Now, because this screen does have HDR10 support, and you can see it's listed right here, high dynamic range support there, which is really good. It also does have Widefine level 1, so that is another positive here. With such a large screen, such a bright screen, and being AMOLED, you can enjoy Netflix, Amazon Prime at full high definition, okay? So you got not stuck in standard definition there as well, so it's full HD. Sorry, is what I wanted to say. So dual band frequency GPS is on board. Sorry about the flicker, as mentioned. It's my camera here with the display. The dual frequency GPS, you can see because it's listing E5, and that means it's on the second frequency there. So it will see a lot of satellites. It will lock on to a reasonable amount, and the accuracy tends to stay around 4 meters. But very, very good signal strength. This is one of the higher ones you will see on a phone. They're right up there. Most of them, in fact, all of them are in the green apart from one there, which is very, very good. Wireless. Good range, good strength. Speeds aren't the fastest I've actually seen from a mobile. But in the typical spot I go over to on the other side of the studio here, I'm getting a above average wireless transfer speed. A lot of phones will just scrape over 100 megabits per second. So very good signal strength there. And okay, this all depends on carrier, but I'm not noticing any problems with the signal strength here with 4G. The speeds are terrible, and that's because it's orange here in Spain, well, in Denia at least, terrible. So UFS storage, UFS 3, so it's the same as the OnePlus 7, OnePlus 7 Pro. Very, very quick there, you can see. That's probably faster than a lot of people's hard drives, SSDs they're using in their laptops and their PCs. So the first Antutu score that I ran, a little bit lower than expected, so I thought, what's going on? But I think there was a little bit of thermal throttling here in play. There is a little bit of thermal throttling, which is going to happen on all of these chipsets. So after I let the phone cool down, you can see I got a much better result, almost 400,000. I did repeat tests where it dropped down again, just to show and demonstrate that yes, there's a little bit of throttling there happening. So you've got some toggles here I also wanted to show you here from the top. So we've got the X mode that I'm currently in, which is a performance mode, like a gaming mode. Screen recorder is there too as well, which is great. And of course, this with the black theme is going to help with our battery life being an AMOLED panel. Blacks don't consume so much power there. And you'll also notice that notifications, they are there. They are all showing, no issues there. But a very quick phone. The performance of this is just absolutely super fast. So it does have a dedicated gaming mode, so this is very similar to what I've seen with other gaming phones, for example, like Xiaomi's Black Shark. So what we have here is you can quickly launch the games in this nice menu. You can see currently running it at the 120 Hertz. So if I go along here to, for example, Legends, you can click into the game profile, and this is where you can set the X mode. So the X mode is like their overclocking or their performance mode, and you're able to even configure this here to what CPU speed you want. You've got the system one, or you can set it right here, and it's also going to tell you that the power consumption, whether it's going to be just burning through that battery or not. So with this current mode set onto basically the extreme ultimate mode, you're losing about 20% battery, depending on the brightness, of course, per hour. So you're going to get about 5 hours gaming in this mode. So it really rips through it, and yeah, it does get warm, the phone. I will check the thermals later on after I've done at least about an hour or so of gaming. So I did force the highest possible settings using GFX Tool. You can get that on Play Store. So shadows are enabled, everything's set to high, and this performance is the best I have seen. It is just absolutely super smooth right here. Maximum details. So if you want the best performance in PUBG right now on Android, I think this is it. This is the phone, probably the best one to get if you are a huge Android PUBG gamer, that is. So I can look down the sites right now, and there's absolutely just zero lag as you'd expect, and no problems getting kills. Got one already. See if I can just jump on this motorbike here. And the visuals too, at the moment on the highest possible settings, just looks absolutely great. Hey, he doesn't let me get in. So playing Shadowgun Legends here with the unlimited frame rate settings, so not just 90 frames per second, but unlimited. This is in the 120 Hertz, and it is super smooth. I've never seen this game run so well. It's just so smooth. And I'm not seeing those micro stutters that I sometimes see. So really, excellent gaming performance. But yes, I can feel a bit of heat on the Extreme, the ultimate gaming mode that I've got it set on. Alright, so 42 minutes now that I have been doing a few missions, playing games. And this is Shadowgun currently running that I was playing at 90 Hertz. Now you're seeing a little bit of flicker here. Now that's something that this camera always does when I'm using AMOLED panels. So that's just one thing there. Don't worry about it. You can't see it in person. So I've noticed that yes, it is getting hot. It's getting warm to the touch. I'm in the X mode. This is maximum performance here. So just how hot is it getting? I know a lot of people are getting just a little bit silly and carried away with temperatures on mobiles, especially my last review that I did with the Xiaomi, the Redmi 8 Pro. People going, it's got a heating issue. So there you go, 39 degrees. That is warm. It's hot to the touch. It's not going to burn you. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to explode. It's not going to damage it. It's perfectly fine. You remember that at the moment it's passively cooled, and you can get that plug-in fan there which blows air over the back of it to just keep it a little bit cooler. So let's check again. So the rear of it is getting up to about maximum 38, 39.1. So there we go. So it will eventually, after a couple of hours of gaming, get up to about 41 degrees. Again, it's not an issue. And on to audio. So we've got the two front-facing speakers. They sound really good, very loud. They've got a little bit of bass to them, some mids as well in there. And overall, for a phone, they have to have some of the better speakers you will hear. Definitely good for gaming because it's very immersive as well. Especially with some games, they just seem to up the volume even further and they're incredibly loud and you have to turn them down. So the voice call quality, fine, no problems there. Noise cancellation is working, and all in all, it's good. 3.5mm headphone jack as well is loud, it's clear. I'm not noticing any annoying static or interference or anything like that. Again, good. And overall, yeah, I cannot really complain at all with the audio quality on this phone. So here's a sample now of both of those front-facing stereo speakers at 100% volume with a short track here. So moving over to the cameras now. I won't show you the standard camera app because it's all pretty straightforward. So right now you're looking at a 4K 30 frames per second sample. The electronic image stabilization is very good. Now we can't swap over to the ultra wide lens on the go here. You have to choose which one you're going to use and then start recording. Now I've noticed that the audio is pretty much just like the Zenfone 6. It's excellent, really good. Nice bitrate as well. Focus seems to be working well. So this is now the ultra wide. It has that excellent electronic image stabilization. It looks like I'm using a gimbal, but I'm not. This is all handheld. Now you will notice, especially if you're watching this on a 4K monitor, in 4K TV, that it's not as sharp. The video quality is not as good as the main 48 megapixel lens. And with the front-facing camera, you just get 1080p, but it's very good 1080p quality. Look at the electronic image stabilization again. So this is ideal for vlogging. Very good mics. They're picking up my voice. Excellent, really clear. And that is good. I've got a little bit of ambient noise here, but you can hear that. But it's good. It's not using any noise cancellation, which they shouldn't. So you can see I'm holding it about normal arm's length here. There's a bit of a crop, but it's not like some front-facing cameras which are like this. They're just way too close. It doesn't have autofocus, and there's no front 4K setting here, but overall, this quality for 1080p is really good.
So we've got an amazing screen on here with really good brightness. Sure, it's not 1440p, but I think 1080p is the best choice for a gaming phone to keep the performance up there. You've got the ultra performance modes, which does mean it gets really hot. So that's one of the cons here. Okay, the heat, it will get up to about 40 degrees. It does get very warm to the touch. Now if it got up to 49 degrees or 50, that's when I consider far too hot. Some laptops get up to that. The Ultrabooks, you touch the top of them and it's uncomfortable. It's almost starting to feel like it's going to burn you. But this never feels like it's going to burn you, okay? So a lot of people are getting obsessed with temperatures on passively cooled mobile phones. Okay, you can get the active fan for this to cool it down, to make it even better. You can get the dock as well, but I don't have those accessories. Game control is another option for this too, so just like the Black Shark, that will give you the maximum, really, hardware controls is just so much better than touch. However, the touch optimization on this is fantastic. It's super fast, the touch response, and the UI at 120 Hz, really super smooth, fast. The fastest phone I have used, fastest phone at gaming as well. I haven't seen Shadowgun Legends run like that before. Normally, even on the Snapdragon 855, not the Plus, I see sometimes there's like these caching micro stutters for seconds, or full gesture stutters and lag. Nothing, absolutely nothing. It is just so good on the performance. So, really, where can I criticize it? Where can I say there's room for improvement? Okay, with some of the photos, like low light photography, I think maybe, it's not the best. It's not like your flagship phones that cost twice the amount, okay? So don't expect it to take a photo like a Mate 30 Pro, P30 Pro, Samsung Galaxy S10, or say the Note 10. No. With the selfies as well. I mean, it's only 1080p on the front camera, it's still good. Electronic image stabilization and 4K video with the audio as well, very good. Don't get me wrong, it does take a good photo. It's just not going to be the best in its class, of course. But it's a gaming phone, and this is where it is the best in its class here. So if I was to criticize a few things, Android security patch level from July, it should be more recent, okay? Hopefully we're going to get Android 10 on this. The other thing too is the size. This is the main complaint, okay? It's a big phone, and you know that. When you get it straight away, you're like, wow. As I showed you next to my S10, next to my P30 Pro, it is a good almost centimeter taller there. And the weight of it, that's the big thing. In your pocket, you definitely notice it. 233 grams, it's like, wow. It's a heavy phone. Okay, so battery life. I haven't shown you my figures yet because I've been swapping refresh rates. I've been gaming so much on this that I just can't get a proper gauge. But I can actually, because gaming, you're losing about 20% on the highest setting mode. So it's the X mode on Ultimate. You're running 120 Hertz, kill the battery in about 5 hours flat, I think, depending on your brightness. So you put that brightness at the super bright, almost 1000 lux, which is crazy. This has such a good screen in it, bright screen, accurate screen as well, color-wise, and the touch. But that's when it will just burn through that battery, I think, even under 5 hours, like really quick. And of course the heat. The heat's going to be there. Now, step it down to 90 Hertz. I think this will then be with typical kind of use over 1 day phone, about 1.5 days. 60 Hertz, which it comes with default, and you just game at the high refresh rates because you can do that. You can set it up with the gaming mode. Then you're looking at 2 days, possibly 3 days, 2.5 at least, with medium to light use. Okay, so it all depends on what you use. So that's just battery estimates there that I've gauged from GSAM Battery Monitor, because it can give you an update when you're burning through the battery of just how much you're using per hour. So that's handy there. So that's why I can give you that. So overall, if you're in the market for a gaming phone on Android, okay, the latest iPhones are still faster than this, but if you're on the Android ecosystem, you love Android, and you love your gaming, PUBG maximum settings, super good performance, this is it. This is it. The ASUS Republic of Gamers Phone 2 is the one to get, and it's selling for under 500 euros. Really good price, amazing spec, great phone. Thank you so much for watching this long review. If you did like it, please give a thumbs up. And if you are new around here, also subscribe to the channel for more up and coming phone reviews from me, laptops, and lots of other things. Bye for now.